Jai Hind. Hello cadets. Now let's continue our discussion of reflection of light further with few more principles of reflection from a plane mirror. Okay. Now the first principle that we are going to learn is shown in this ray diagram. Okay. Suppose this ray of light, ray marked by A, is the incident ray in the first case. So a ray of light, say A, is incident on the plane mirror. Now this is angle of incidence for this ray of light, say I1. Now this ray of light gets reflected and therefore we can say this ray B is the reflected ray. So let us suppose that R1 is angle of reflection for this case. Now if we keep the mirror fixed, if the plane mirror is kept fixed and the incident ray is rotated through an angle theta in clockwise direction. Okay, so the incident ray A is rotated clockwise through an angle theta while the mirror is kept fixed. So the new incident ray now is the ray C shown here, and therefore the new reflected ray will be the ray D here. Okay, so suppose that this angle, that is I2, is angle of incidence for the second case, that is ray C, and this angle here, angle R2, is the angle of reflection for the second case. Now, first important thing, we have I1 is equal to R1 and I2 is equal to R2. Why? The angle of incidence is always equal to angle of reflection. That is the law of reflection here. Using this law, we can construct these two equations. Now, here, angle I1 can be written as I2 plus theta. Angle I1, this entire angle can be written as I2 plus theta. Likewise, angle R1 can be written as angle R2 plus this angle, let us call this angle as phi. Now, as I1 and R1 are equal, so I2 plus theta is equal to R2 plus phi. Because I2 and R2 are equal, we can cancel out this, which gives us theta equal to phi, meaning that this angle phi is equal to angle theta. So what exactly it means in this case? First, incident ray is rotated through angle theta in clockwise direction like this. Now observe, the reflected ray got rotated therefore through the same angle theta but in anti-clockwise direction. So the principle that we are showing here can be stated like this. While reflection, if incident ray rotates through an angle theta, reflected ray also rotates through the same angle theta but in exactly opposite direction. Okay? Now consider the second example. Suppose instead of rotating the incident ray, we kept the incident ray fixed and the mirror is rotated. Okay, so imagine that this is the initial position of the mirror where it was horizontal like this, and now the mirror is rotated through an angle theta in clockwise direction like this, while this incident ray is kept fixed. So we are not changing anything about the incident ray. The only thing that we are doing is rotating the mirror through an angle theta. So when the mirror was in position 1, this was the normal. So this was the angle of incidence for the first case. Likewise, this was the angle of reflection for the first case. And again, according to law of reflection, I1 and R1 both are equal. Now, as you rotate the mirror, the very first thing that is going to happen is the normal will also get rotated through an angle theta in the same direction as that of the mirror. So the normal also got rotated through an angle theta. Now, what has happened because of the rotation of the mirror is instead of n1, now n2 is the normal, and therefore this entire angle here has become the new angle of incidence. So this angle here is I2, the new angle of incidence for this incident ray. Remember, we are not changing the position or direction of incident ray. Incident ray is fixed. Next, so N2 is normal for the second reflection. Therefore, here this angle will be R2, the angle of reflection for the second case. Now, first thing that is going to happen is angle of incidence I2 is going to be equal to I1 plus theta. That is, the angle of incidence will increase from I1 to I2. Now, because the mirror has been rotated through an angle theta, the normal also had moved clockwise in clockwise direction through the same angle theta. Therefore, angle of incidence increased by theta for the second case, so that we can write down the equation I2 is equal to I1 plus theta. Second thing, the angle R2 will be equal to R1 plus 2 theta. Now, how exactly is that possible that R2 is equal to R1 plus theta? So basically it is R1 plus theta. First, remember that I2 and R2 both are going to be equal. So if I2 is I1 plus theta, R2 is also I1 plus theta. But because I1 and R1 both are equal, you can write it as R1 plus theta. So where does this extra term theta came into picture? See, it is easy to understand that okay, angle of incidence increased by theta, angle of reflection will also increase by theta, because for reflection, angle of incidence and angle of reflection are always equal. So if you increase angle of incidence by theta, angle of reflection will also increase by theta. So that is simple enough to understand. Why did this one extra term theta came in this equation? The reason is that while angle of incidence also increased by theta, the normal also got rotated through an angle theta, causing an additional increase of theta in angle of reflection, so that you can rearrange this equation as R2 minus R1 is equal to 2 theta. So in words, this principle says that keeping the incident ray fixed, if the mirror is rotated through an angle theta, the reflected ray rotates through an angle 2 theta, but in the same direction. As you can see here, the mirror was rotated in clockwise direction. The reflected ray also got rotated in the same, that is clockwise direction, but through an angle 2 theta. So, incident ray is kept fixed, mirror is rotated through an angle theta, reflected ray will rotate through an angle 2 theta in the same direction as that of the rotation of the mirror. Now, suppose that you have been given 2 plane mirrors instead of 1. Okay, and what's more, those 2 plane mirrors are placed such that they are inclined at an angle theta, and they have got a common vertex here at this point. So imagine an object is placed somewhere in this space between the 2 mirrors. Now, first thing that is going to happen is we are going to see multiple images of that object if, as an observer, we are standing somewhere in this region. We will see multiple images of those objects. Suppose we ourselves are an object and observer also. So suppose I am standing somewhere in between these 2 mirrors, then because of multiple reflections through the mirrors occurring successively, I will be able to see multiple images. And what's more, the number of images primarily depends on the angle between these two mirrors. Okay, suppose that we assume 360 degree divided by theta is equal to m. Okay, now if 360 upon theta is assumed to be equal to m, the first thing that we are going to see regarding the images, if this m here is even, then the number of images seen by me will be equal to m minus 1. Okay, if the value of m in this formula, value of m comes out to be even, the number of images seen will be equal to m minus 1, whereas if m is odd, then the number of images will be equal to m itself. So whether or not m is even or odd, based on that we can find out whether the number of images would be m minus 1 or it would be m. Another important point that is worth considering here at this point is, imagine that you are actually standing between these two mirrors somewhere which are inclined at an angle theta. Now you will be able to see multiple images of yourself, but as the rays of light undergo successive reflections, what is going to happen is that after every reflection, the quality and the brightness of the image is going to reduce. Why does that happen? Because most of the mirrors that we use in our daily life, we see them around us, they are basically not very perfectly built or not very perfectly manufactured. So the surface of a common average quality mirror is like 80 to 85% reflective, meaning that remaining 15 to 20% of the incident light will be either absorbed or transmitted by the mirror. So let us assume that it is reflecting 80 to 90%. Even then, there is some loss. So after every reflection, you are losing 10 to 15% of the incident light's brightness. And as a result of that, every successive image formed after every successive reflection is going to be of lesser and lesser brightness as well as quality. Okay, so you want to find the number of images formed by a combination of mirror like this. You can use this approach to get the exact number of image. First thing you have to remember is you have to substitute this angle theta here in degrees. Okay, so while calculating m, please remember theta must be substituted in degrees. Okay.